It's good to see they give you a cutting edge camera. Give her a better camera.
Good morning, everyone. The white stuff is holding off, so we'll appreciate that. I'm trying to move quickly. I know it's cold, but this is a really, really momentous day in Ulster County, and so I do want to make sure that we mark the occasion properly. There are a number of important folks here that have been part of this team effort, and you're going to hear from a few of them, but I also want to make sure to take the time to recognize a lot of folks. Before doing that, though, I do just want to zoom out for a second and recognize this has been a long time in the making. It's been a lot of ups and downs and roller coaster. It's not the end of a journey here, but this is a momentous day in Ulster County after decades of frustration, stalemate, and challenge to finally turn the page and just last week sign a landmark settlement agreement, which we're going to talk more about. And really the main goal today is not to look so much backwards, but to look forwards and to lay out a really exciting and finally bright and optimistic vision for what we can do here at this former IBM site, at the former TechCity site. And it feels really good to say former TechCity site. Yeah, let's all that. Before we dive in, I really bear with me as I recognize some folks. As any major accomplishment, it really takes a team effort. And so I want to recognize a number of people that are behind me, some that are also in front of me, and some that aren't here, who have been part of getting us to this point. And certainly the moment we're at today builds on a lot of work over literally decades of work by a lot of folks. I want to start by personally and on behalf of the 180,000 residents of the county welcoming Mr. Joe Cotter and Ms. Lynn Ward. Warren, welcome. We'll hear more from them shortly. I want to thank and welcome Senator Michelle Hinchy for being here and her partnership now and going forward. There's a long list, so I'm gonna keep going. You all can feel free to applaud. No offense to anybody, but I know it's cold, so I'm gonna just drive through and maybe we can do a thunderous overall round of applause at the end. I want to thank, where is Megan? I want to recognize Megan Glander from Senator Schumer's office, and Senator Schumer, who stood with us, a lot of us here not that long ago, in front of the piles that we're going to get to work quickly cleaning up. I want to recognize and thank representatives from Congressman Delgado's office, Amanda Boomhauer and Jacob Salzman. Want to recognize representatives from Assemblyman Cahill's office, Lauren, I might butcher your last name, Montegueto. My apologies if I do. I want to thank and recognize Comptroller March Gallagher for being here, and also recognize that we're building on work that you started in your previous role, and appreciate that. I want to thank and recognize, where's Tom? Tom Scaglione, and also Kelly Torturo, representing both ESD and DEC, but also Governor Hochul and her leadership and support for this project to this point, to get us to this point. And excited to particularly have ESD helping to make this happen as we go forward. We have several members, distinguished members of our county legislature here who were involved from the beginning, but especially in the last few months, including tours to Mr. Cotter and Ms. Ward's other sites, and really part of the team effort to build this strategy. So not everybody could make it, but I want to recognize legislators Heidi Haynes, Dean Fabiano, legislator Brian Cahill, home turf here, and you'll hear from him shortly, Abe Ucatel, Laura Petit, Tom Corcoran, legislators-elect Eric Stewart and Phil Erner. I know they had RSVP'd, I didn't see them both, but and if folks, they're there, thank you. Wasn't able to be here today. Hopefully he's somewhere warmer, but I do want to recognize Supervisor Jim Quigley, Town of Ulster Supervisor. When I took office, before I took office actually, I spent several hours with him getting smart on the challenges here. There's no one more attuned to that, and he has been really an advisor to me throughout this. So Jim, if you're watching from somewhere virtually, thank you. Councilman, Town of Ulster Councilman Van Cleek, Clayton Van Cleek is here representing. I want to thank you, sir. Rose Woodworth, CEO of our Ulster County IDA, is here. Some of our other key economic development partners, Mike Oates from Hudson Valley EDC. Mike, you've been absolutely, where'd you go? There you are. Can't give enough credit to Mike and the team at Hudson Valley EDC for really bringing this together and making it happen, along with Dan Ahaus from Stockade Strategies. Thank you, Dan. Of course, Ward Todd from the Chamber of Commerce, who's personally and deeply familiar with the efforts here and the work here, and we're going to hear from him as well, and Mike. I want to recognize and thank our partners from the Hudson Valley Building Trades, who have both helped get us to this point, but will also be a critical part of driving the work going forward to bring the site to its full potential. Todd Iorio couldn't be here, but want to thank and recognize him. Matt Ross and Scott Smith from Carpenters are here. I'm not sure if Mike was able to make it, and other representatives of the Ironworkers, Mike Gatos. Another key leader here with multiple hats on is Laura Hartman from the Town of Ulster Citizens. You'll hear from her, but going back for several years, we've worked to get the community, especially the Town of Ulster community, engaged in envisioning what could happen here. So Laura and your team, I want to thank you. I'm not sure if Malia was able to make it. Malia DeMont, Chief of Staff, thank you, from Bard College. And Dr. Roberts from SUNY Ulster, thank you for being here, Dr. Roberts. Sarah Haley, Chair of our EDA, thank you, Sarah. And I also want to recognize a few key members of the Ulster County team, and thank you for bearing with me here. Tim Wiedemann. Tim, you should come stand up here. As usual, Tim is a servant leader and doesn't want to take any credit, but this certainly would not have happened without Tim as the quarterback of this team. So, Tim, more work ahead, but thank you. Clint Johnson and our legal team, who worked throughout the Thanksgiving weekend to get this deal over the line and long before that. And Deputy John Milgram, who's been key in a bunch of pieces of this, including applying the EPA, bringing the EPA to bear to finally hold Mr. Ginsburg personally and potentially criminally liable for what he's done. I know there are some folks who I'm sure did not RSVP, so therefore I didn't recognize you, so I'm sorry about that. But that's the future lesson to make sure you RSVP. It really, it took a huge team to get us here. It's going to take a lot more work to get us forward because, as I said, in many ways we're finally just reversing what has been a sort of a downward spiral and a stalemate, but we have a lot of work to do to build it back up, and that's going to require the whole community engaged. So again, thank you for bearing with the shout outs. I wanted to make sure we stood in this spot because we're literally, there's no sun today, but we are standing in the shadow of the sort of famous IBM clock tower and really reminding us of IBM's former presence here. The main plant at this site was dedicated on November 2nd, 1956, on 200 acres in the town of Ulster. We know IBM Kingston recruited heavily locally for assembly line workers and other employees, but also sought professionals nationally and even internationally. Many of you have heard me say this, but it's personal for me as well. My grandfather, John Porsche, who's unfortunately no longer with us, a World War II veteran, Purple Heart recipient, came home with no high school degree, was hired by IBM, and spent 36 years there, benefiting from them, supporting him as an employee, from his colleagues supporting him, from the company investing in him, and ultimately me being able to raise his family here. And we all have so many stories like that that positively rippled across our community. And I just can't miss the opportunity to hope that he's looking down and feeling good about the work that we've done to get us to this point. We know then, of course, the rest of that history. In 1993, when IBM finally shuttered the doors here, we lost over 8,000 immediate jobs and sent shockwaves really through our entire county and regional economy. For most of my adult life, this site has really been a sad reminder of better and brighter times. But finally today, after several decades of disappointment and failure and stalemate, we have reached what I really feel is a true breakthrough moment. Last week, after months of intensive work and negotiations, we reached a landmark settlement agreement between ultimately Ulster County and Mr. Ginsburg, but also sort of a three-way agreement with Natural Resources, which we're excited to have. If you zoom out, what we've really done is, I believe, removed the factor that has held us back for almost 3 decades, Mr. Ginsburg. He is no longer a part of what the brighter future will be here, and I think that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. But more exciting than that, we have a new partner, set of partners, proven partners with really pretty unique and unparalleled expertise in turning around sites like this, including other former IBM sites. The deal, and later today we'll be posting online on a page all the specifics of the settlement agreement, along with an extensive FAQ so the public can really understand all the parameters. But at a high level, critically and urgently addresses environmental remediation issues, which we're all familiar with, especially our favorite asbestos piles. Ultimately sets up to invest up to $200 million in private capital over the next decade or so, all in efforts of attracting exciting, high-growth, 21st century economy, businesses and sectors here, part of the Ulster 2040 vision that we laid out a few years ago. So, with no further ado, I really want to welcome up, and I'm thrilled and honored to welcome Joe Cotter and Lynn Ward here today, to give them an opportunity not only to outline the vision for where we're going, but hopefully to talk a little bit about what they've done in the past, because at the end of the day, words are easy, but actions are what matter, and they have a real proven record of success. We're very fortunate to have Natural Resources decide to invest here in our community. I've gotten to know Joe and Lynn very well, to actually tour their other highly successful projects, to go to Salute and have a beer, to have cookies from Jane's Cookies, if I still remember the white chocolate chip cookies from the bakery, to see what they've built in Fishkill and at their other sites. Each time that I've met and talked to them, I've left even more excited, even more optimistic about their alignment with really what I know our community wants and needs. So now, truly without further ado, I'll welcome up Joe and Lynn.
Good morning. That was fun enough. I don't want to do that, don't put your name on the list because we've arrived. We're delighted to be here. Welcome to IPOC 87. The Executive Vice President. Joe likes to think he's the boss. We'll leave that to everybody here. So it goes. So we have also already hired some local people. And recently it's been said that this is about getting the investment going and getting everything else going. But believe me, it's really about the people. So National Resources has been doing this for 30 years. That's us. We've been partners a long time. We've done many of these IPOC brands. We are a brownfield developer from before there was the term brownfield. And we've been using existing buildings, trying to do sustainable development for a long time, before all the words came up, before resiliency, sustainability, everything else was known. It made logical sense. It makes economic sense too. So that is what we have been doing. Our closest IPOC to here is IPOC 84 in East Fishkill, New York. Our second closest is IPOC in Yonkers, IPOC Hudson, which was the home of Otis Elevator originally. That means even the date here, this 1956 date here, is a newbie by comparison with that. And IPOC Lake Success, which we did in the year 2000, was the home of the United Nations in 1945. So we have some sort of pedigree in this thing, or inherited pedigree from everybody, and we're looking forward to relying on the same thing here. Our experience of this always has been that IBM built well. They built good goals. And so if you treat it with respect, you can get there. One of our IPOCs in particular has become heavily medical. They take on a character as they evolve. We are not putting a stamp on anything and saying what it's going to be. We know that it's going to need to be a combination of medical, educational, and many other businesses. It is true that what we bring with us is the investment to make this happen, but we need the support of all of the people. That's basically all I really have to say about us. I'm going to hand it over to Joe.
I'm going to start with a little story. So sometime late spring, early summer, I got a call from Mike Oates from Hudson Valley Economic Development. He said, there's a guy named Pat Ryan who'd like to come visit you in Fishkill. So I said, well, what's he like? He said, oh, he's a good guy, just take the meeting. So a couple of weeks later, Pat and his team came and he gave him a tour of IPOC 84, as you call it. It's a former IBM site in East Fishkill. But frankly, with no even idea that we were even going to be interested in this site or any intentions to even do this site, the team that they brought, Tim Wiederman, Dan Ahaus, and the county executive really swept us off our feet. They were genuinely interested. They had real passion for this site, and they said, you know, just give us a look, please come up, this could be a good fit. So when somebody does that, the word commitment takes on a new meaning. It's been very rare in our history. We've been in a lot of communities where, you know, people came to us and really sought us out. So we weren't really looking for love here, but I guess we found it. You know, I have some IBM family members as well, so I bleed a little blue. So we do feel the respect and what they did here, you know, with their heritage. But one story, and I think it's really been understated, for the last 3 months, the team from Ulster County and the town of Ulster and Hudson Valley Economic Development and their attorneys or whatever, it's been a full court press. This was not easy. It was one of the more, certainly ruined my Thanksgiving. I'm still in trouble for that. But we had a number of calls every morning, and you know, but what they did put together is they convinced us that everyone here, from Senator Schumer's office to Empire State Development, Tom Scaglione, to a host of other groups, the EPA, EPC, that they really had assembled all the parties that were required, the local senator, in the town of Ulster in particular. But we went through step by step, and Lynn's a doubting Thomas. She hates going anywhere north of New York City more than an hour. So even though it's very hard living in her shadow, she points out. it was very difficult to convince Lynn that this could really work for us. So it's a credit to your entire team and the community that we're here because we were reluctant suitors. Now, we're used to having dead bodies, properties that have been dead, but in this case, the body's been buried for 10 years, so we have to exhume the grave, and then we have to give mouth-to-mouth to the body. So please be patient with us. This is a little harder. The difficulty factor of this one is much greater than anything we've ever done because there's been nothing, it's 1956, so in Fishkill, the body had a pulse and we were able to do it. In Yonkers, when we did it, we had a few tenants. So here's going to be a little more difficult. And what it really means is we all really need a team effort. So we very much would welcome people's ideas. One of our formulas, and this is very important, is we're all about jobs, jobs, jobs. And in Lake Success, we created 5,000 jobs. In Yonkers, we did 2,500 jobs. And Unilever in Edgewater, New Jersey, we took over an old R&D factory, and we created over a couple of thousand jobs there too. Fishkill, we're up to, there's 3,000 jobs on the site. I think we created 1,200. The supervisor of the town of East Fishkill told us that we created over 500 jobs in the first 2 years. He renamed the exit off the highway. So, notice Empty's now I Park Boulevard. So, I don't know where Jim is. Boulevard, only if we perform, right? But just to give you a spectrum of what we're hoping to accomplish, we are looking at a number of major manufacturers, major companies, warehouses that could benefit from some of the sites here. But we're also, as Lynn said, very eclectic. There are a lot of opportunities for education, medical, we hope, government, but also we think this is going to be a people place. It's sort of a whole county, and the transportation network, the infrastructure's here. So as we've done in some of our other sites, we've created people places. We've created an art center, we've created a wellness center, we've created and food manufacturing is very at the heart of the Hudson Valley. And in Fishkill, we've attracted 12 food companies that are currently there now. We've created a think we're going to do the same here. In fact, as we speak, I have an ice cream company that I'm actually relocating from Fishkill to here. That's going to be multiple restaurant being one of them. So they're looking at the space now. But desperate for ice cream, bakery, very simple. So we're very much looking for a brewery. Our first tenants, we will do our best to make a good economic deal. When we arrive to the site, we do have some funding that allows us to do some startup and so on. We're also working with Stockade Works, but I think we're pretty open to like things. One other message is we're going to try our hardest to help them to create more of a sustainable project here. It's very difficult to do these on a greenfield site, but because of all this infrastructure, if we get things right, the governor has been great in some of our other projects. We can't tell you how helpful we believe that this administration is to some of the things we do. And I think it will be particularly good. I spent some time with it recently just but we really hope that this will be an example of a green project. Thank you very much. Where's the dare we go for ice cream? Voices.
We're going to hear from 3 more folks, as you heard from Joe, both local business leaders, economic development leaders, and regional leaders have been critical to getting us to this point. but will be even more critical to making this site successful. So I wanted to thank and welcome up Mike Oates from Hudson Valley EDC, as well as Ward Todd from the Ulster County Chamber of Commerce.
Good morning. And first, I want to apologize to everybody. We're hoping to have this completed over the summer when it's a little bit warmer, but these things take some time. A project like this cannot come together without leadership. And I can't give more credit to County Executive Brian for the incredible leadership that he's brought to make this project a reality. You heard from Joe, you heard from Lee, you understand the quality of the development that they've done, their proven track record, and we expect to see that happen here. We're very excited to continue to work with all of the partners that you see behind us, and really make this this is phase one. Phase two is jobs, tenants, ratables, jobs, and jobs. That's what we want to bring here to the county. So I want to thank, specifically I want to also thank Ulster Strong, the new business organization that we're partnering with here in the county that has been instrumental in trying to create an environment for investment and economic development in the county. And I think you're going to see a lot more work here in the county bringing, the type of investments that we want to see happen. So with that, I'll turn it over to my good friend.
Thanks, Mike. I too want to congratulate County Executive Pat Ryan for his leadership and his vision, his determination to make it work, and his team, and Wiggman in particular, did great work for Ulster County. Congratulations and thanks to Mike and to Dan A. House for being integral parts of this. And a welcome from the Chamber of Commerce to, we think, some wonderful people who are really going to reimagine this property the way that many of us thought it could and should have been done in the past. So thank you to Joe, and thank you to Lynn for being coerced to be here. We think great things can and will be happening here. There was a vitality here, right? This is where they made the greatest stuff in the world at one time. And it's been such a part of
we call it the greatest stuff in the world.
So now to have this vision for a brighter future, for more jobs, for economic growth is just a wonderful thing. Pat mentioned that it's going to take an engaged community, and I will assure you that Ulster County is the most engaged business community of any region in the state of the Northeast. We have seen during the hardest of our times the last 2 years how businesses, once competitors, have come together to make sure that we can survive as a region. So you are here in a very great, engaged community. Joe and Lynn, we welcome you. We thank you. Look forward to working together. Thank you.
So on the spirit of team effort, one of the things we've really tried to do from the beginning, is make sure that at every step of the process we've had true community engagement and voice in envisioning what could happen here, getting excited about what could happen here, but also asking the hard and important questions about how we make sure we don't repeat past mistakes and omissions. And the only way that we can see blind spots is to have a team of smart people looking at it from all the different angles. And going back to pre-pandemic days, which feels like decades ago, we actually got a group together organized in large part by Laura Hartman and the Capital Ulster citizens to start thinking about what could happen here. And a lot of the ideas that they were talking about were shared by our Ulster 2040 group. I see Matt Igo here, who was part of that, and Cheryl Bowers, who I should have shouted out before, and others. And they were thinking a lot of the same ideas. And then when we got together with Joe and Lynn, they were thinking a lot of the same ideas. And so certainly, I think the community already has a general sense of where we want to go, but the details and the specifics matter. And ultimately, we're in a really strong position to actually control our destiny, our own destiny, if we engage and if we really engage in good faith and in a constructive manner. So, Laura, I want to thank you. I don't know where there you are. Sorry. Thank you and welcome you up.
I have to say, I used to live on the other side of Voices Lane. My lips are kind of frozen. For 12 years, and I used to walk around here a lot. And this is the first time I have felt joy being on this property. So good morning, and it's a real pleasure to be here today. And I'm honored to be representing TownofUlsterCitizens.org. We have been bringing attention to the conditions here at TechCity and the stagnation that has been for far too long, since 2018. We have been advocating for the need to make bold moves to bring this campus back to life, envisioning creating what could be the crown jewel of Ulster County. I remember when Pat Ryan received the nomination for county executive, and he and I had coffee together, and I asked him to promise me that he would make rehabilitating TechCity a priority of his administration. He said he would, and here we are today. Thank you, Pat, and to everyone in your administration who made this happen. Thank you most especially to Tim Wheeler. I know you have worked tirelessly to see change happen here, and thank you to everyone that Pat has mentioned, the supporting team that has brought us here to this day. Most importantly, I asked Pat that day, and every time we have spoken about this project, that the community be involved, that the process be transparent, and that whatever happens here benefits our community first. TownofUlsterCitizens.org is working with the County Executive's Office to create a web page that will include all the legal documents of the sale and a page of frequently asked questions. This will daylight the process to the public and hopefully answers all the questions that people may have. Additionally, we are setting up a video call, hopefully with Pat and or Tim, that will allow the public to hear about this process and address any questions. We will hopefully be announcing that later today. You can stay tuned to TownofUlsterCitizens.org on our Facebook page and also to the county. I would also like to welcome Joe and Lynn and National Resources to our community. From all I have seen so far, you are the good neighbor that we've been looking for more than 25 years. In your presentation at our Ulster County Economic Development Advisory Board meeting, you made it clear that community was important to you, and we extend an open invitation to attend a Town of Ulster Citizens meeting anytime you want, and we hope that will be soon. Thank you again for this opportunity to be a part of this momentous occasion. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. I forgot about that coffee, so it feels like a long time ago. All right, last but certainly not least, I want to invite all the members of our county legislature, if you're willing to come up and ask on their behalf to hear from the legislator representing this district, who also has a little bit of a history with IBM, Mr. Cahill. But I really want to invite all the legislators here up to join if you're willing. Again, this is a team effort. And I think the model of what we've done in working closely between the two co-equal branches of government to get us to this point is certainly something that I want to emulate and continue as we go forward, and doesn't happen without a lot of work and collaboration and communication. So thank you to our partners in the legislature, and please come on up if you want.
Thank you, Executive Ryan, and welcome everyone to the town of Ulster, which I can now say, and proud to say, is the home of my firm, certainly an important event we're all gathered here for today, and it's a very long time to come. National Resources is an ideal partner for Ulster County with our shared vision of economic development. They have demonstrated with previous and current projects the ability to bring neglected, underutilized industrial sites back to life. I'm looking forward to a long, successful relationship and the resurrection of this important location. I would like to take a moment to thank Mr. Cotter and his team, Executive Ryan, Supervisor Quigley, And a special shout out to the Director of Economic Development, Tim Wiedemann, who I spent hours and hours and hours on the phone with over the last 6 months, making sure that this thing worked out. Along with my fellow legislators, we're going to move swiftly on the resolutions before us to assure a fast transition for this property. It's truly a new day here on Enterprise Drive. Hopefully soon, Hyde Park Drive. And with that, I would like to enthusiastically welcome National Resources. Thank you.
Just because we have recognized everybody here, I have to tell you two things. Employee number 1 is standing over there. I know as soon as we have any board here, everybody's grandfather will be there and everything else. So we'll soon have a big community here. But I didn't want to miss it. And number 1 is here too. Ronnie Brook Ice Cream in the red jacket.
Go. Well, again, thank you to everybody. We don't have a lot of moments where we can just celebrate wins. It's been a really pretty brutal, almost 2 years here. We all know, but this feels damn good. I gotta say candidly, this feels damn good. And Joe said to me as we're standing here, the sun is pushing out the snow, at least for this moment. So we're going to take that as a positive sign for things to come. I know it's cold, but happy to take questions for myself or others here. And I understand if people do need to take off. I know it's a busy morning for everybody, but happy to take questions going forward. Jesse.
Start moving in tenants, so that investment in bringing these buildings up to a higher standard, redoing parking lots, things like that.
Everything's going to take time, so it's a little premature, but we hope to come out with a plan. Maybe in early January, we can have a difference.
To use the parking lots for new tenancy.
I know, not to get ahead of you guys, but certainly one of the urgent priorities is environmental work, and I know that's already.
Yeah, we hope to get right off to the races and get rid of the piles.
That's Joe's job.
Take out the garden.
Sorry, Jesse.
Asbestos piles
What's the process of disposing of asbestos in the
Well, asbestos typically used in the landfill in that happens. Frankly, it's not really dangerous. So usually that's what's happening.
Other questions?
Let's ask one question.
Okay, great. I know it's cold. I know we've been here a while. Again, this is the beginning of the process. As Laura alluded to, there will be multiple open public discussions. We're trying to schedule one which will probably be virtual for within the next week to 10 days. So more details to come on that. I don't know, is the page up yet?
It is.
Okay, the page is actually live, and we'll send out that link right after this with all the details and documents, including the settlement agreement that I mentioned earlier. Thank you all for being here, and early happy holidays. and I hope everyone continues to, one, stay safe and healthy, but two, I know this is a little off topic, but just ask everybody's help here. We're all leaders in our community here. We've been at this pandemic almost 2 years. Unfortunately, the numbers continue to go up, and I know it's really hard to ask things of folks after 2 years, but I ask everybody's help here to just remind people of the importance of not just thinking about themselves, but thinking about the health and safety of the community. As we go into the holidays, we just can't have another year like we had last year, and we need everybody's help to do that. So please just re-up the importance of thinking about others as we head into the holidays when it comes to public health. So thank you again, and everybody have a great day.